Hello everybody out there in the music community. This is Mike or Soldier 777 here. And I figure show you a video of very good debuts from some of my favorite bands, which is my favorite debuts, that can rival or be as good as or as on par with their later releases. So basically I'm going to call this very strong debuts for some of my favorite bands. And as you may know, most of these come from or I think all these come from the 80s or early 90s. And as you may know, back in the early days of Christian hard rock and metal, um, in the late 70s, up through the 80s, mid to early 80s, a lot of the moderate rock and light rock bands were promoted in Christian circles, and hard rock and metal was sort of not promoted as much. And from about 70 till about 86, maybe 87, a lot of these bands were grassroots, had a very limited budget, limited promotion of the hard rock and metal bands, which I think is amazing how they put out these albums back in the early years, and they put out quality stuff for the most part. As you may know too, back in the 80s, I grew up in a rural community, a small town, Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland. So I wasn't exposed to the first-hand accounts of, say, from California, where a lot of these bands, Christian bands, started up in separate bands, or in Toronto, or Montreal, Canada, or in a bigger city. So we had a local book and Bible store, which is outlet for the Pentecostal Hymns Newfoundland. We had word of mouth from our friends at church, and if you had a friend who went to mainland, which came back with some bands you hadn't discovered, or newer albums from bands that you heard of, or a relative or friend of that friend went to mainland, came back. Mainland being like where Newfoundland's an island. Mainland meant like Toronto or Ontario, mainland Canada, because Newfoundland's an island. That's what I meant to say when I say mainland. So they would come back with albums that you knew were out, or albums you didn't know were out, that kind of thing. Like I had a buddy of mine who went to Bible college. He came back with cassettes, both taped off and original copies of bands. So it was word of mouth, and also at the book and Bible store, you had Microfiche. You would look up stuff on Microfiche to see what was coming out, or what was coming out, or both will come out and or have been released. Also, you have magazines. Now, Heaven's Metal, I didn't subscribe to Heaven's Metal until around 92, 93. But before that, I know Metal Ed's Jerry Miller, and may she rest in peace, would feature Striper. But she was also which got a lot of publicity with Metal Aids and other magazines. But she would also write small blurbs of other Christian hard rock metal bands, like what they're doing, what they're recording. Like I remember reading stuff at White Cross and Messiah Prophet, for example, back in the 80s. That was so we got limited exposure with that respect, and so that's what we had back then. But like I said, I'm amazed at how bands in Christian circles put these albums with very limited budget, limited promotions, but these albums can stand up against their separate counterparts, like Judas Priest, Metallica, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, these same albums. So it kind of adds to the mystery and mystique of some of these bands back in early days. Also, too, when I started getting access to the internet at school, at university in '97. Plus, I had started getting internet in 2001 at home. I started researching all these bands and filling in gaps of what happened back in the 80s, that kind of stuff. So kind of help fill in some gaps about, researching that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show now is some of my favorite debuts, or debuts can stand up to in terms of their later catalogs for some of these bands. So let's get right to it. So here we have Mastodon. It's a jungle out there, and now, as you may know, John Elefante was with Kansas from about 81, I believe, to 85, and he was featured on 2 of their albums. And one of them was Vinyl Confessions. So he left the band in '85 and started recording music with his brother Dino Alfonte. And in '88, '89, I think it was early '87, he started a band Mastodon, and which is what this album is. Mastodon. It's a jungle out there. This came out in '89, and this originally came out on Regency Records in '89. And they also had a buddy of theirs, Dave Amato of REO Speedwagon. He also sings and plays guitar on some of the songs on this one and other albums as well. So this is a great album. It's Young Out There was featured lead singer of X Sinner on the first album, Get It. Glory Bound, great song about Rapture. This is the Day, Islands in the Sky, Give Up, Love It Will Survive. Love Survive sort of has a hard rock journey feel to the song. Shine On, Right Hand, and Dave Amato, who's, I'm not sure if he's a Christian or not, but he was singing on the overtly Christian songs like Right Hand and Glory Bound as well. So great vocalist. So this is Mastodon. It's a young out there. Came out in '89 on REC Records. Great album. And they put out 3 albums. One in 1990 called Lufcadio, and 2009 called 3. If I were to rank these 3 albums, I think this would be number 1. Great album. Here we have another band, Stryper, Soldier in Command. Not much needs to be said about this one. I mean, even Stryper had a grassroots beginning, in the very beginning. And when I first got into Stryper, I believe I got into them through word of mouth back then. And I think, I'm not sure if I discovered, I think it was before I found out they were middle age, I think. But I discovered Stryper just before this album came out, during the Young Black Attack era. I think a buddy of mine had their cassette to Young Black Attack, the 6-song EP. And anyway, so I discovered this band just before this album came out. And I had their first album taped off. I remember having the Young Black Attack on a little blue cassette taped off. And this one, another cassette taped off. Anyway, so I bought Soldiers back in May of '86 around the Chernobyl disaster. And of course, that's what I became a Stryper fan around that period. Great band. I mean, this album, Soldier Command, can stand up against the rest of them. And this is a Hollywood Records version I got here. So, great album. I mean, this is probably one of my, did this one stand up to the other Stryper albums? Maybe so, but they've come up with a lot of great stuff over years. I love just all their albums. I mean, you have Soldier Command, makes you want to sing, 2 awesome songs. Rock Makes Me Roll, Reach Out, Waiting for Love That's Real, Surrender, and a bombastic Bethlehem Republic, which is based off the hymn. Great album. I mean, and First Love, I think that song I think that song might be better than Honestly. I don't know, it's hard to say. Honestly, it's a great track as well as a ballad. But not much more needs to be said with this one. I mean, that whole 85, 86, 87 Pure Stryper, when they're flying high with their first 3 releases, Young Black Attack, this one, and 12th Devil. Great time for the band. And of course, they broke up unfortunately in '92, '93, and they regrouped. And glad to regroup back around 2002, 2003. I'm grateful they got back together again. But Stryper, Soldier Command, great album. Here we have the lead singer, Michael Sweet's first solo debut. So when he left Stryper in 1993, in '92 actually, he left Stryper, early '92, I think February '92. They carried on for about a year without Michael Sweet, as a 3-piece with Os Fox singing vocals, and Dale Thompson Bride also had a brief stint with the band as well. But he put out this album in '94, self-titled debut. And even though Stryper wasn't together as a band, I'm so glad that he decided to do a solo career. And this is sort of a hard rock album, not as heavy as the Stryper catalog, but still some great tunes on this one. There's a backlit here. I got a poster too of this on the back to it as well. I remember, and this was released on Benson Records, which is a Christian label. Now, when he put this album, this sold, I believe, 250,000 copies, which is pretty good for an album on a Christian release, on a Christian label. This is good. This is pretty good. Unfortunately, the band Benson went under a couple years after this, but great album. I mean, you have Together, Take Me Home, All This in Heaven too. Someday is a great powerful ballad. If you like Honestly and First Love, listen to the song Someday, great ballad. Jesus is a great song. All I Want to Do Is Love You, so a great power ballads tune. Forever Yours, another great ballad. I Think You Hear Me Knocking, and Ain't No Safe Way, which is a song going against sex and marriage. Very powerful, great upbeat hard rocking song. Striper, I mean, if you guys don't know, I mean, this album to me is probably, if I were to take his 10 or so solo albums, this would rank near the top. Great solo album from Michael Sweet. He made 1994. Next up, we have another great LA band like Striper, which is called Holy Soldier. This is their debut. Great album. I mean, what can I say with this? This is a Rock Records release as well. It came out a few years ago as well. So great band. I mean, what can I say with this album? I mean, another great LA band. Another band that was had their time during the LA Sunset Strip scene before they were signed to Merle Records. Great album. Unfortunately, the band's discography is short. They put the great album Last Train 92. The sort of transitional album Promised Man 95, and a live album 97 called Encore, and then they didn't put anything since then. Not really together, not really around anymore. I know they did the odd date here and there in the 2000s, but nothing's transpired since then. Like I said, Holy Soldier. I mean, what a great album. Stranger. An awesome song. See No Evil. Tearing the Walls. When the Rain Comes Down. Sort of about where, the decadence of society. Lies. Love Me. We're Young, We're Strong. Eyes of Innocence was a great power ballad. Holy Soldier. I mean, this is probably one of the best albums. I think this will rank number one with me in terms of favorite albums. And of course, we have Last Train came at 92, another great album. But great band, great album. Of course, this is produced by David Zafiro of Bloodgood as well. When he left Bloodgood, he got into producing. This is one of the albums he produced. It's a great album. Here, another great band. I think they're from California as well. Originally from California too. If I'm not mistaken. Maybe you guys can correct me on this. Similar to Striper and Guardian. Here we have the Brave Battle Cries. There you have. This is the Girder Records reissue. I had the original one there years ago, and I sold it long before I bought this one. The original Peckham Records, but this is a great album. I mean, a lot of great up-tempo, upbeat songs. If you like bands like Bon Jovi, Striper, that kind of stuff, you'll like this one. Now, unfortunately, this is the only album I have from them. Now, they put out a few albums since this one. They put Trust 92, which is, this came out 92, sorry. Trust came out 94. It was just more of a bluesier album, if not mistaken. I had that album too, and I sold it. Maybe I might get it back in my collection again, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is good up. And I also put out Rise. Is it called Rise? I forget now. Another one around 2015, I think. And also put out another couple albums in 2022. Evie's Garden and another one, which I forget the name of it. But to me, I don't have those albums in my collection. I can't really get in these albums as much as this one. To me, this is a great arena hard rock album. And not going to ban any way, but like I said, you get to the point where now, years ago I used to buy not years ago, but up till a few years ago, I used to buy every album band put out. But now to the point where, due to finances and budget, I generally do buy every album band puts out. But there's a couple, and recently when I would get into a band, if I like a certain album, I buy that one album. And maybe years later if I buy another album from them, because I'm happy with certain albums from a few of the bands I'm into. This one being one of them. Another band's Neon Cross. They put out a couple albums, only the first one, but it's great. It's a great album. Great hard rock album. Now, not anything they put since then. Just it's not for me. Maybe for other people, just not for me. this way I am. So, like, I mean, I know Stacey Roberts is an awesome guitar player. He plays guitars in his albums. I mean, he's a very underrated guitar player. Great leads, great solos, that kind of thing. But like I said, their later releases is not for me. But I may change my mind. I may get their more recent albums. You never know. So there you have the Brave Battle Cries. Great album. Here's another. Now, I wonder if I should show this band because they were around before this under a different name. But this is the first time I put it out with underneath that name. But I figured show it anyway. So here's a band called Fear Not. Great album. They were in a band called Love Life. 3 to 4 members in this band was in the band called Love Life. And that's the first album. But this is the first album under that name. Fear Not came out in 93. Love Life came out in 91. I think it's called Goodbye Lady Jane. Name escapes me right now. But anyway, yeah, great album. If you like bands like, let me see, Slaughter, Skid Row, that kind of sound to it. Maybe a little hint of AC/DC, that kind of stuff. Melodic hard rock, great album. As you may know too, they put an EP back in 2019, and a new one in 2022 called Fields of Sword was also another great album. I really like that one as well. But this is self-titled, came out in 1993. Great album. Recently released on Pachyderm Records, and Roxx Records re-released the album several years ago. Great album. And of course, the guys from Fear Not has been on Area 312 Rex and Ken. I really enjoyed those episodes. Great bunch of guys, and I look forward to hearing more from these guys in the future. But Fear Not, if you haven't heard his album, you need to pick this up. It's a great album. There you have it. Fear Not. Here we have another favorite band of mine, X-Sinner. Here's the one, Get It. There you have it. And this is a Pachyderm Records version. This is the A&M Records version. Great album. This one here probably if I were to rank my top 20 or 40 albums of all time, favorite albums, this would definitely be one of them. Get It. I mean, if you like AC/DC, Cinderella, what else? AC/DC, Cinderella, Def Leppard, you definitely like this one. So I won't say much more to this one. Here we have another favorite band of mine, and it's called White Cross. Their debut, and of course got 1987 version, which was put out by Retroactive, a joint venture between Retroactive and Guerrilla Records. Put this one back in 2005. White Cross 1987, which is this re-recording of most songs on this one except for one. So if you can get your hands on either of these versions, get your hands on these versions. It's a great album. I mean, here's a song titles, but every single song is just bar none great. The only thing I find this one, the production is a bit lacking on this one, but yet has a great sound. But this one here was somewhat rectified in this one when they re-record it. So like I said, if you get your hands on either one of these, get it. Don't hesitate to get these albums. So there you have it. Here we have this. I'm going to cut this real short. Here we have another great debut. Now this guy here has been involved with a lot of different bands, a few different bands, several projects. I know this one will say his 1993 album is probably one of the best ones, but I think, and maybe so, maybe my favorite. I haven't actually done a ranking, but this is a very strong debut from this artist, Ken Tamplin, Exogrind. And as you know too, this is an all-star lineup. He has Leonard Cordolo of House of Lords play guitars. Chuck Wright of Quiet Riot plays bass, and Joey Tafola plays guitars. I think, not mistaken. He's one of those guitarists who's been around the block in bands, various bands. So there's a sort of all-star lineup of friends of Ken Tamplin, who's involved with the LA hard rock metal scene. It's called An Axe to Grind, and just because he has guests from these bands play, he doesn't hold back on a Christian message. Is upfront and bold in this one, especially song "Living for My Lord," and that kind of stuff. So and he has a tribute to his wife called Never Give Up. It's a great power ballad for your special someone in your life. It's a great album. Ken Tem Escaron. You need to get this album. And this one's another favorite band of mine, Bloodgood. The self-titled album came in 1986. Great album. I can't say enough about this album. Produced by Daryl Mansfield. This 2019 Retroactive Records version. If you want to get a version of this album that you don't have in your collection, if you find that other versions in the past are a bit more tinier, get this one. I think this one has a bit more lower bass and a bit less tinny than the original release and the older reissues. I recommend you get this one, 2019 Retroactive Records. Even Scott Waters speaks highly of this version that was put out. So, and I asked him before I bought this one, I said, what do you think of this version? He said, it's a great release. And this too company the vinyl version came out from Gerda Records back in around 2021. I think it was 2020, maybe 2020. So yeah. So this Bloodgood. Can't say much. Can't say enough of this album. Great songs, great band. There you have it. Here we have Saint with Time's End. Another great album. And I find since 85, around 86, 87, 88, all these bands start to become more popular. Of course, like Bloodgood and Saint. And this is another great album, Time's End. Oh man, what an album. This can stand up against any except a Judas Priest album. Of course, if any member, Richard Lynch, John Mahan on guitars. Man, what I mean, if you want to listen to some old-fashioned traditional heavy metal, this is the album for you. If you want to start your own Saint collection, get this album. If you want to start a Saint collection, you will not be disappointed. I mean, In the Night, Island Prisoner, Space Cruiser, Through You, Time's End, Prominent Ready, Destroyers, Phantom of the Galaxy, Steel Killer. If you take the last 5 songs, Time's End, Prominent Ready, Destroyers, Phantom of the Galaxy, and Steel Killer, not a skippable track on this one. Just straightforward, in-your-face heavy metal without hitting the skip button. Of course, the first side is good, but I'm just using the last 5 as an example. I mean, this is probably a 9.5, 9 out of 10, bombastic, no restraint album. Awesome album. Last one I want to show is Deliverance, their debut album. What a great album. Great in-your-face thrash. I don't call it thrash. I call it speed metal. Maybe a little bit thrash. Man, what a great album. And to a fine too with this band Deliverance. They started in 85. And these songs were tried and tested and played for years before they put on record, on a professional record. I know it's been on demos before this one, some of these songs, but great album. Some of these, like I said, some of these songs were like debuted through concerts and other demos, so they've been tested and vetted. But what a great album! I mean, in your face speed metal. Jimmy's voice got a Jeff Tate, David Bowie type sporadic voice that vocal range. So great album. There you have it. So like I said, what do you think of my favorite debuts or debuts that can rival other bands that's their peers, or albums that rival their future releases of these same bands? Let me know your thoughts. What are some of your debuts? Please comment below. Let me know what are your favorite debuts from your favorite bands. Let me know below what's your favorite. Could be Christian, could be non-Christian. I don't care. Just let me know. I'd like to hear from you. Okay, guys. Have a great day. Bye.